Welcome to the Unstoppable Profit Podcast. Wherever you are today, if you're starting with nothing or are well on your way to the success you desire, with the right people, processes, and promotions in place, you will be unstoppable. And now, I'd like to introduce your host, Mike Stromsoe.
Welcome, everybody, to the next episode of the Unstoppable Profit Podcast. I am pumped and excited because with us today, we have some longtime business partners, but this organization is at the top of their game, and it couldn't come fast enough to be able to share with you all everything that they're doing out there to help independent insurance agencies grow more and to become more of a footprint in the areas that they want to do business. Again, I am honored to have on the podcast today two of the teammates from Pacific Interstate Insurance Brokers, also known as PiiB. It's left to right. We have Rachel McClurg and Tracy Henry. Good afternoon, ladies.
Yep. Hey, thanks for having us.
Yep. Hey, you're welcome. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. So before we get started today, learning more about PiiB and what PiiB's doing in the independent insurance agency marketplace, let's just do a quick intro and we'll let Rachel go first.
All right. I'm Rachel McClurg. I have been with PiiB since 2004. So 18 years now. I was probably the second staff member hired, and I used to open mail on the floor in the office when we had around 15 agencies. We now have over 240 agencies. So it's been a pretty unique and pretty awesome for me to see a company grow like that right out the gates. It was a college job for me initially.
Yeah, and to be part of it.
Yeah, just to even be part of it and meet the people I've met, and Larry Manning, who was the one who originally hired me, just one of the most amazing people I've ever met.
Agreed.
Feel very fortunate to have been able to work with him for so long and learn from him. So currently I am a senior sales rep at PiiB, and I help prospect and bring on new affiliates.
Awesome. And you spent some time on the carrier side as well, so you understand both sides of the dynamic.
I did. Right after, there was a little piece there where I was like, you know what, I've been at PiiB since I was a junior in college. I feel like I should really maybe spread my wings, try something new for a little bit. But with about a year after, my husband got relocated to LA and we needed to make a move, and PiiB was like, you know what, you were here so long, you just go ahead and work remote down in LA and come back. So I'm so fortunate that I was able to do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you. Tracy.
Yeah. So my story and my way into PiiB is unique, and it's a cool story. So Rachel, actually, who's with us today, her and I have known each other since I was a freshman in high school. So that was, we've known each other for more than half our life. We'll say that.
We won't timestamp it.
Yeah, it's more than half of our life that we've known each other. And we ended up on an adult indoor softball team together. And I had recently left the job that I was at a couple years out of college. And she's like, well, hey, I think my company is hiring. So do you want to give them a call? And within days, I was hired at PiiB. So cool thing is that Rachel got me my job. We've been working as a team pretty much together for almost, for more than half our life, with minus a couple of years. We went to college and went away, but we played softball together in high school, played softball together in an adult team. And then now we work really really close together at PiiB. To my role also, like Rach, is senior sales rep. And our primary goal at PiiB or PiiB is to bring on and onboard new affiliates and manage those relationships with new agencies that come on board. So pretty cool story. Happy to work with Rach, especially really closely with her. And I'm thankful that she gave me the opportunity 10 plus years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And to use the analogy that you ladies just dropped, I wasn't aware of the softball background. So that's fantastic stuff. You also help agencies toss softball size chunks of money into people's bank accounts, namely the agencies, which I think is fantastic because of what you built.
Yeah.
So let's dig into what you built. And I will just personally say that I did business with PiiB for a number of years and continue to work with them, just helping agents. And I've got nothing but great things to say about my relationship. And there's two things that come to the table when I think about that relationship. And it's not money first. is leverage. They leverage your positioning with the carriers in a way that I don't think anybody else can. And I think that's fantastic. And there's some extra income streams available as well because of the partnership. So Tracy, if anybody's never heard of PiiB, tell us a little bit more about the organization and anything you want to pass around to Rachel.
Yeah. So first off, we are and have always been extremely proud to know you, Mike, to have you be part of our team. Still love working with you, and just, have always been really proud to work with you and work for you and all those things. So thanks. And we love you, seriously. So anybody that doesn't know PiiB, we work with independent agencies, so there's an independent and there's a captive world. So independent agencies look to an organization like PiiB when either they're starting their own agency, which they have to be an experienced producer in that case. So they have to have the experience with insurance. But if it's, let's say, a captive agent that wants to go independent, or a producer, let's say, that wants to go out on their own, they're ready to take that leap. And first thing there's a lot of things that come into when you start your own agency, and we certainly help with a lot of that. But kind of once you get the brick and mortar, I guess we'll call it, even though in this day and age, that's not necessarily the case, but get all things aligned, you need carrier access. And that's really, I think, over the years, there's been a lot of morphs of aggregators and networks that are like PiiB, and there's a lot of different values that we bring, I think. But no matter what, I ask agencies consistently and currently, what is most important to you that PiiB brings? And it's always still the carrier access and the profit sharing, which Mike touched on, the enhanced and increased revenue. So an independent agency existing would look to PiiB for additional carrier access and stability and securing that revenue year over year. And somebody like that case I already gave would look to us to help get that carrier access and really just hit the ground running from day one, because on your own, it does take a significant amount of time to get those carrier appointments in place, to hit minimums for profit sharing, to earn the highest commission. All those things take a lot of time. With PiiB, it's pretty much a fast track to get those things. And then, I think that's pretty much it. So if you're an independent agency, whether you're just starting or existing, those are the two largest values, in my opinion, that we bring to an agency, in addition to others that I know we'll get into later on in this call. So I think that a little history on PiiB. We've been around for 29 years, I believe, and started with 5 independent agents and said, hey, let's come together. Let's kind of work together and manage these relationships with the carriers as one. And today we have 240 affiliates that are part of us, domiciled in 9 different states in the United States. So really quick intro. Rach, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you did a really great job. And I think, just again, reiterating that we are a place and a home for those startups who are coming with no book. We have no minimums. We can work with those startups, but then also we just offer extreme value for existing affiliates as well in revenue and advocating, like you kind of mentioned earlier with the carriers, Mike. So we are an option for a wide range of agencies. So they should always, give us a call. Don't automatically rule yourself out.
And I was just speaking with an agent today about you. And I hope yours weren't burning too much, but other thing, if you've got an existing appointment, as an example, with a couple of carriers that you already represent, this agent said, well, I've already got them direct. I don't need this particular relationship. I will say, I thought the same thing when another agent pushed me to make the call. And I said, I don't need it. I got it. We're growing great in the whole 9 yards. And he wouldn't leave me alone. And he wouldn't leave me alone. And shall I say, he wouldn't leave me alone. And I made the call, and I'm so glad that I did, because it starts with leverage and other opportunities. So you can help people, even though they might have that appointment. The appointment can become even better, right, Rachel?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It can become better just for a multitude of reasons. And just, again, how Tracy mentioned, that stability, knowing it's stable year over year and someone has your back and is negotiating and figuring out things on the back end. So what you can do is just focus on your business.
Right.
And running your agency.
You allow us to be truly independent.
We do, and we want you to, but we're here if you need us. Like,
exactly. No.
Yeah.
And that's one of the greatest things about it. And the the company people that come to the table, they're always looking, what more can I do for you? Because if you combine the volume of all the agencies together, you're automatically elevated up to a much higher level just like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have this hammering. It's like, what more can we do for you to help you write more business, good business? And that's fantastic. So let me just answer an elephant that may or may not be in the room real quick. And either one of you can take this. Does every agent out there automatically qualify for PiiB or?
No, I think, Trace, I'll touch a little on this and then you jump in if you want to.
Okay.
We probably talk to 150 or so a year, maybe more, and we'll add around 20 to 30. We are looking for true partnerships, people who are committed, who when they pick up those carrier appointments, they want to grow them, and then bring on more, grow their staff. So not everyone will be a fit, but just because they're not a fit at the beginning doesn't mean later on, a few years later, it can't turn into a fit. Right. Once they're at that point. Trace, do you have anything?
Yeah, the only thing I would say, it's not a one size fits all, like we kind of hit on earlier. We do have shops that have, it's a one-man shop. Maybe it's one man or a woman with a virtual agent, or maybe it's two people. We also have shops that have 20 employees there. So it's not a one size fits all, but it is sort of I guess it's more of a mentality what we're looking for. We're looking for, like you said, Rach, or I think you said, we're looking for agencies that really truly want to grow. They're in growth mode. Profitability is number one to them, because I would say at PiiB, profitability is our number one priority in terms of loss ratio and profitability. With regards to how the carriers see profitability, it's not necessarily like a balance sheet or profit and loss, but in terms of loss ratio, we're looking for agencies that are focused on writing the type of business that is statistically shown to be profitable. They're in growth mode, and really, I mean, it kind of comes down to that, like Mike said, our affiliates are 100% independent, and we want those that want to run their own shop. And we want those who want to use us when they need us, and we are more than happy to help when that time comes. But also, we don't want to have necessarily our fingers in your agency and knowing and telling you how to run the day in and day out. We want you to already know that and cultivate that within your own agency, and then work collaboratively as a group to just strengthen the group. So it's definitely not a one size fits all, but I think it's more of a mentality. You want to grow, you want to work together, and you want to write profitable business.
Absolutely. And we have the same kind of environment in UPP. I mean, we're not for everybody, but what we have found, we seem to attract the high achievement, growth oriented, positive mindset. And I know your culture is very similar to ours. So that's why it's always been a great fit. So let's talk about culture for just a minute. So how does PiiB's culture bring value to the independent insurance agents, and why are you maybe a good fit and maybe sometimes not?
Yeah, I think where our culture really all started is kind of going back to Larry. He had a strong vision of what everything would look like. And some of the decisions he made were just so smart, things I wouldn't have thought of to do when building the culture for our team. And one of those things he did was whenever there'd be a new staff person, and I was the second one, so there was one before me. And not only did he interview me, but once he interviewed me, he said, okay, now my one staff member that's already there, she's going to interview you. And then we're going to, talk to each other and figure out who will be best for the position. So we've done that with, I think, almost every staff member we've brought on, no matter how many staff members, and we have around 9 now, we're still not huge. We still all interview incoming potential team members. And I think that really helps build the culture, because we all have a say, and if we mesh with these people, this is great, this is fantastic. And with that being said, because we get to do that, I do feel like we have a family feel, even though we're getting larger, and we have over 240 affiliates, and we're approaching, $1 billion in written premium. We have a staff of 8 8 or 9 who we all get along really well. I think people see that. I think I've had prospects I've talked to actually use the word, we're more boutique when it comes to the networks out there. So I think And I know people have joined for sure, at least ones that I've brought on for that reason, that they like the culture, they like the smaller feel of what PiiB is doing.
Yeah, fantastic. I just thought of something that you may or may not be able to use. And if you can, please feel free to take it and run with it. You're small enough to know you, but large enough to grow you.
That's great, Mike.
Seriously, that is good.
That is
Writing it
good.
down.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how we roll around here at living UPP life. So Tracy, anything to add on to the culture?
Only thing I want to touch on is you said like what helps and maybe what doesn't. I feel like the only kind of real maybe like doesn't fit, and it when I think of it in my head, it sort of almost sounds negative, and I don't mean to sound negative because I think everybody can operate whatever suits their agency and helps them be successful is perfect for that specific agency. So I think if it's an agency that maybe feels like very competitive and wants to not necessarily like work with others, which I don't think there's a lot out there, but I mean, I think that like when we meet with our agents, when we talk to our agents, and because it is a very kind of tight-knit group, if that doesn't vibe with your agency, then that probably would be something that doesn't. So I just want to touch on maybe something that maybe wouldn't fit due to our culture.
And to add on to that just really quickly too, Trace and I were talking about this, and actually we talk about it in the office quite a bit, but the longevity of our staff, I think also adds, you know, I have 18 years, Tracy has 10, but that's just two of us. That I think the shortest amount of time someone has been with us on the team is maybe like 5 years. So it's a place where you can get to know the team you're working with. Any of us can help you, and we're happy to.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Small enough to know you. And always felt that consistently. And you guys are awesome like that. So it's a great relationship to build if it's a good fit. And, you know, anybody who might have a question, if it is or is not a good fit, just contact you guys, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I don't know one more thing too, is just that I think that there are other models out there when it comes to aggregators, and ours, like if you are looking for the aggregator to be like I touched on before, just the fact that we're not necessarily like in your business. Like we're not going to like call you and ask what's happening unless there's something coming up. So I think if you want that real just I don't want to say like support, because I believe we support our agents, but if you want that daily support of a network that's doing something every single day in your agency, then that wouldn't be a fit for PiiB either. And I feel like it's worth mentioning.
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, you don't have to submit reports and do all this other stuff. It's more the other way around. You guys are always reaching out. What more can we do for you? Just help you. And that's it. Yep. And you have kind of a self-service portal there. People can log in 24/7, 365 and get lots of helpful information. And you've got some new things coming up. So I'm going to jump into that as far as benefits are concerned. So, you know, what kind of member benefits can people expect from PiiB as an independent insurance agency?
Yeah. So, I mean, we have kind of the normal ones that you would expect of most networks, you know, E&O programs, vendor discounts, things like that. One that we are currently working on and we're excited for, or at least I'm excited to kind of bring it back, is what we're calling our Accelerate program, which is going to be our new and improved Master Code program. So currently, for those that don't know, PiiB is a subcode only network. You apply for appointments, there are minimum volume commitments. And we are working on now becoming more of a hybrid model where we will have master code access. And
that eliminates that volume requirement, right?
It does.
Yeah.
We still are really hoping, as we mentioned before, you know, we want our affiliates to grow. So we are hoping that, you know, the carriers that they're going to grow, they're still going to be getting their subcodes with. And, you know, maybe as they learn these carriers that they aren't as familiar with in the master code, they'll still grow them and end up with their own subcode. That's always our hope. But we do see the value in agencies being able to try different carriers out and see if they are competitive, if they do fit in their agency. As you might remember, since you were with us, we did have a master code program years ago. And it just wasn't the way it was set up. It was set up when we had 15 agencies.
Right.
And so it just really needed a revamp. We took it away for a while, and bringing it back now, we worked closely with the carriers, or Brittany in our office. Brittany, shout out to Brittany. Brittany worked closely with the carriers and agencies to make sure that we're bringing back something that's going to be beneficial to everyone, where we can still track profitability, because that's so important to us. And that the affiliates and the agencies are still going to have direct access to those carriers, even though it's a master code option.
Awesome.
Yep. I have a couple things to piggyback on that. So when you talk master code, I think PiiB as a whole, we believe that the success comes from those carrier relationships direct from the agency to the carrier. So when Rach said our hope is still that you'll have those relationships, it's, you know, it's there so that if, like you said, like they feel, maybe it's an agency that wants to dabble in small commercial, or maybe they're already there, but they want to try a new market. It's just kind of a good period of time where they can have access to those carriers, with the intent always being the direct appointment. When you said that we're sub code only, it is your own sub code, where it's your agency's code, but it's a direct code. It's a direct appointment in all senses of the word direct appointment. Commission comes to you, names on the deck page, all things like that. And then I forget what I was going to say about the rest of the master code, but so anyways, we'll go back to that. I just wanted to touch on the fact that, like, we believe that the success comes from those direct relationships with the carriers. And so ultimately that's what we're hoping this program does, is just open the door for those relationships in the short-term future for those agencies that maybe they wouldn't have the opportunity to make that relationship had it not been for master code.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of always the cool things. We had direct relationships with the underwriters. We didn't have to call anybody else. We go directly to the underwriters. Again, our name appeared on the deck pages. It was our own relationship. You guys were just there for leverage and to help us when needed. So let's get one of the other elephants out of the way that might be in the room, in the minds of somebody listening. So there's an investment to be part of PiiB at this time, correct?
Correct.
A monthly investment, but that's it. You don't withhold any amount of commission or anything else. It's simply one flat investment, correct?
True, but there is an initiation fee of $5,000. So there's a one-time initiation.
Okay, fair enough. But one time, yeah.
$850 a month after that, and yeah, no commission split. Profit sharing, we keep 10% and distribute the other 90 to our affiliates. And I would say with full confidence that it's the most lucrative program out there. And we're very transparent with how our agencies get paid. They know where every penny comes from when they earn profit sharing with PiiB. So I think that's why we're able to be very lucrative, obviously, because we take profitability very seriously, but also we're so transparent in how we calculate and distribute those payments. There's really no room for us to trick it's just the transparency is huge. Yeah.
Everything's on top of the table.
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
Well, and speaking of transparency, just because for the Accelerate program, which is our master code program, which hasn't rolled out yet, it's currently piloting with 20 of our current affiliates. When that does roll out, there will be a separate flat fee for that. Less than $400. We're not looking to make a ton of money off of everybody, but we got to cover admin costs. So there will be a separate fee for that.
Well, there's cost to make everything work efficiently and properly all of the time, so people can earn more money, because it's become a 24/7 world.
Yes.
And so we got to invest to earn more. So just to be clear, there is an upfront cost, a sign-up fee of $5,000 one time. And after that, it's a flat $850 a month, but that's it. And I watched the math year after year after year, and there's no comparison. It was worth every single penny invested multi times. So it's a great opportunity and just easy to do business with. You've got the E&O program. There's additional discounts that you provide through other vendors because of the size of your organization. Everybody wants to do business with PiiB. So you pass that on to the agents. You've got these incredible networking events that you guys do as often as you can. And now that we're moving back towards more of the next normal, super excited about that, right? Anything else that I missed?
Well, I just don't want to leave networks and the networking and events like just real like simple like that, because I think that that's probably one of the most valuable pieces and benefits that we bring is we have at least 1 or 2 events annually, or we used to. We've already hosted one in the fall of 2021, and we are about to host our first convention in 2 years in 2 weeks from today, which is really exciting. And so at these events, really the idea behind hosting these is that our affiliates can make relationships with each other, with the carriers. They can cultivate opportunities. For example, at the fall event in Napa in 2021, we had an event with principals, just principals. So the fall event tends to be agencies only. The convention, which is in April, where we pay profit sharing, is agencies and our carrier partners and our vendor relationships. So at the Napa event in fall, one agency came up to me and was like, hey, I want to focus on growing my commercial book. Can you hook me up with somebody that might be interested in purchasing the personal lines book at my agency? I was like, absolutely. Actually, they're standing right here. Let's talk to them. Due to location and the fact that they were standing there, and they executed that opportunity, and that agency acquired this other PiiB affiliate's personal lines book. So it was an amazing opportunity for both. And those type of things happen often at these events that we have. So it really just cultivates opportunities to grow as an agency, to learn from one another, to bounce ideas. And I think that's where too, we really, those events, like everybody works together and it is a family feel. And so that's why I kind of mentioned, like when you go there, it's like everybody's on the same team when you show up. So also we do provide education at the events, which I think is worth mentioning, that we have Mike speaking at our event in 2 weeks. So really excited about that. We're trying to get, we don't really have to try to get people excited about you, Mike, but we are very excited to have you there. And then, we have we try to provide very valuable content for our affiliates that's going to ultimately increase revenue. So whether that's in terms of agency operation, somebody's coming in and kind of speaking to that. If it's in terms of profitability, which obviously we talked about a lot, but we had another workshop a month ago with a consultant that came in and just taught these 23 agencies that were there, what to look at when they're looking at their production reports and how they can take it into their hands and improve their loss ratios. Because I will say that PiiB has been historically very profitable, at least for the entire time that I've been here. But we can always be better. So the idea is to just always stay on top of it and make sure that everybody's mindset is to be profitable all the time, because ultimately that increases everyone's bottom line, and it makes the carriers happy and it makes our agencies happy when we can, pitch that huge amount of cash to them. So like you said, that was a softball reference. I was a pitcher. So.
It's awesome. It's awesome. 100% agree. Those events are game changing, can be game changing when people show up. And I can think of multiple situations where, because I was standing in the room with somebody on the carrier side, a deal came up. I mean, I remember one of the gals who went down the hall, started making phone calls, et cetera, et cetera. The deal got done almost right there on the spot. In addition to that, I'll say just in the time in attending over the years, easily over 7 figures in results because of those events and things that happen because of those events. So thank you guys. Just awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Great stuff. Great stuff. So we talked about the benefits. Let's talk about managing carrier relationships. And you started to touch on that just a little bit, but how does managing the relationship at the master level help the agents, the affiliate agents within the program?
Yeah, so PiiB we manage the relationships with the carriers at our level, but also an agency still has that relationship at their level. So our affiliates, so we're domiciled in 9 different states. When they get appointed with a carrier, they're actually working with the local team for that carrier. They're not working with, like, we are headquartered in El Dorado Hills, which is just outside of Sacramento, California. They're not working with the Sacramento team. They're working with their local team. So they still have that relationship, that local relationship. Can pick up the phone, call their underwriter, call their rep. So they really have the direct appointment for that. Now, where we manage the relationship is kind of more like high level. We're managing it, negotiating those profit sharing contracts. We're negotiating the highest commission rates that we can get. We also have the ability to negotiate like commission incentives. So not only is your base commission going to be the best, but we just calculated, because we're about to pay out our profit sharing in in another 2 weeks that it was over $1 million in commission in 2021 that our affiliates earned directly. We don't take a cut of it, just as additional compensation. So they earned their base commission, and then our affiliates earned over $1 million in additional commission because of deals that we were able to negotiate because of the leverage that you talk about, Mike. So that's huge. Profitability, I think we take that very seriously, obviously. It's probably like profitability, Tracy, or something. We take it very seriously. And because we take it seriously, it helps everyone, right? So like any agency knows that we're taking it seriously. So if you're a profitable agency, you know that we're not adding agencies that are going to hurt your agency. We're only trying to add the agencies that are going to bring value. And then from the carrier standpoint, it's huge to them because they have their own, people and processes in place to manage profitability, but they can also count on PiiB being like a second layer to that. So, and I think that's huge. And because they understand and they trust our processes and our values, I think that it gives agencies a huge hand up when any carrier realizes they're part of PiiB, because they really do understand the value that we're bringing agencies and carriers. So our reputation is huge, and I think that's a big deal. And we work really hard to manage that at our level, to keep that reputation really strong and the integrity of our group strong.
Yeah. And you've been in the mix for a lot of years, Rachel, and you've been nurturing those relationships over the years. Why is that important, and how can it better benefit the agents that are part of PiiB?
The carrier relationships. I mean, I think
nurtured over a lot of years, and that just gets better and better, right?
Yeah, it does. It's amazing just even thinking how long I've known some of the people, that I met maybe in my first couple of years working at PiiB. But I think even just being able to build those relationships and having that rapport, we've all been at PiiB a long time. I've been there a really long time, so we can have very open communication with what's going on. Hey, this is going on here. Where are these issues coming from? There's profitability things. Okay, can you pull this deep dive report for us so we can dig into it further, and let's address it with the agency, because we're happy to do that. I like learning about stuff like that. Like it's interesting to figure out what is actually triggering what's happening. So maybe less fun lately with all the wildfires and catastrophes, but before that. So, but I think that having those relationships where we can go to one another with the carrier and work like a team in making things better is very helpful.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I want to just piggyback on that I think nurturing these relationships gives our agencies and any independent agencies more opportunities to work with carriers that may be untouchable outside PiiB. Because we've established these, they're willing to work with our agencies, whether it's a startup, which probably would never get access to some carriers. Because we've nurtured these relationships, they trust it, and that opens up opportunities for them there.
Absolutely. So anyway, it's fantastic, and thanks for the great information. So let's go a different direction. Let's talk about something that's happening out there today, and you guys are on the cusp of this all the time. You're very well aware of it, and you actually work for the agents to help them in this particular arena, the M&A space, the merger and acquisition space, helping to support agents in that realm. Help us understand more how you can do that.
It's very interesting, especially for me, again, being there so long. This really wasn't a thing until, 4 years ago. And then, we would never lose an agency. And then all of a sudden there was a couple that were being purchased. And then all of a sudden it was like 10 or 12 being purchased a year. So our response to that was we created PiiB Match. And so our affiliates, if they wish, can fill out basically an ad, a template that we've developed that says if they're looking to buy or sell, they can list, specifics about their agency. If they're interested in selling locally, like a geographic area, they can, their book size, carriers they have. And we also very much love for them to reach out to us. So they can look at each other's ads, but if they want to do something, then they can come to us and we can even do a deeper dive, looking into, very similar carriers here. similar geographical location. And so we've actually had a lot of success in doing that. We actually just had 2 this month that merged with each other. Yes. So,
yeah,
it's really fun for us to, when it happens, it's fine. I mean, we always hate losing an agency, but when they're, coming together, that's actually pretty cool. And it's not even just like a large agency, maybe buying a smaller one. We'll even have instances where we brought on a startup last year. It was basically a 1-person shop, and it just didn't go as it should have. This person was an amazing person. It didn't go as well, but we were able to actually hook them up with another agency and say, well, hey, why don't we do this over here right now? And you can learn more and grow. And then if you want to break out on your own later, do that. Yeah. So I think, rather than people having to be looking outside, they can sell within.
So you can help on both sides. I mean, if somebody's looking to acquire books of business or other agency operations, you can help with that side. Or if they're ready to move on in a different direction, that is fantastic.
And it's such a hot topic right now, because I do feel like even prospect calls we get, prospects ask, do you know of agencies selling? Do you know? And so we're like, actually, we try to stay very on top of this, and we actually have a program. So if there's something you want to do, we can hopefully help you out.
Awesome.
And the agency that lists their profile on there, they're already pre-approved to acquire an agency, so they don't even have to go through that. They're already there. So when we're able to set them up, it's a pretty clean process that way. So it is really cool. The only thing I have to add, Rach, were you done on PiiB?
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to talk. I mean, it's a big deal to us, because over the last 4 years, we've seen a lot of shift, and we've seen a lot of opportunities come up for our agencies. And so I think that we started working with John Persky probably maybe 5 years ago, I want to say. We brought him to one of our conventions. He lives in Florida. He pretty much, he's self-employed. He works for a company called Optimum Perform, but he basically, his entire career has been in the insurance industry, and he sits on the Society of CIC. He's the exclusive lecturer on valuations, perpetuation, M&A. So he's seen everything. And so we brought him to our convention to talk to our agencies. Those type of things are kind of what we try to bring. We try to bring really valuable content at those events. And not only did he speak at our event during a session, what he did that year, and I think for at least 2 consecutive years at our convention, was he would come in a day early, and he would set up 30-minute sessions with our affiliates for nothing. They didn't pay anything to talk to him for 30 minutes. And he's just a wealth of knowledge, because he's been doing this for a long time. And I think I know that he's been really valuable for a lot of our affiliates, and we're really thankful for the relationship that we've established with him, and being able to provide that as a resource, and a very easy in. He's well aware of who PiiB is. He knows what our agencies look like. And even on the contrary, he's reached out to us when he comes across an agency that might be in that position and said, hey, I have an opportunity. Can you send me a couple PiiB affiliates? So that's been huge for us. We take it really seriously. And bottom line is, we want to just continue to create opportunities for our agencies in this space.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I ran into John in certain circles, and I run into him again and again. But, thinking back on it, I met him 11, 12, 13 years ago at an industry event, and he was teaching partly for the National Alliance at the time. But, I remember meeting him. The guy is such a wealth of knowledge, and since I've gotten to know him more, 100% agree. So that's a great add-on. And I know you have other people in the mix as well that are simply there to help agents through the transition, whether it's, moving another agency in, or maybe moving on their own agency and something else. So you guys are awesome in that realm. And I love that about you guys, among many other things. So thank you for always being there for the agent first and foremost. So let's talk about data. It's a data-driven world, right? And we can go very deep into this subject, but how is PiiB capitalizing on data, and how's that going to benefit the independent insurance agents who are part of PiiB?
Good question.
Yeah, I'll start on this, Trace, and then if you want to hop in with anything else. We, in the last few years, invested in our beta partner for a company called Agency KPI. By getting in early, we're hoping we can kind of say, hey, these are the things we would really, really, really like, to be able to do for our affiliates and when using data. So we're a few years in, and what's really cool is we can see all the data in one place now. All the carriers' premiums are pulled in there, loss ratios are pulled in there. So we can look really quickly, like if someone has a question or, oh, how am I doing here? What am I doing this? Like we can easily look at that to see where things are at. We can look at commissions to see if there's better, we can be negotiating better with certain carriers. We can look, I don't think we can really look into profit sharing at that point, but so mostly just like the written premiums and the loss ratios. But one thing that was really cool that we did recently was a carrier wanted to terminate an appointment with one of our affiliates. And so we're like, wait, but that's kind of, they're a very profitable agency all around. And so we were able to go into our system, pull 3 years of written premium and loss ratios and show the carrier that, hey, maybe if we can just work on this rather than terminate, because look at what they have done. And they were like, okay. And so because we were able to show them that, we were able to save the appointment. But kind of going back to the beginning, I should have mentioned, KPI is essentially an agency management system for networks.
Right.
So that's what that is for us.
So ultimately that helps you maximize revenue for an agency, better manage the carrier appointments. And what I was thinking about as I was listening to you, Rachel, is you've got your finger on the pulse of everything going on with all the carriers to better help agents.
Yeah. And I mean, and we hope in the future, because like I said, we're still at the very beginning process of all this too, and figuring out what's so beneficial, but we hope eventually to have SIC codes in there. And then maybe we can see, oh my gosh, we have so much of this, we should have a program. So those are the kind of things in the future that we'll hopefully be able to have. But even the way we're utilizing it now, just by seeing an overall picture of profitability is really nice.
Well, quick idea. Go ahead, Trace. Yeah, Trace, go ahead.
I was just going to say, because our profile of agency is not one size fits all. There's one man shops, one woman shops. There's, larger agencies. I feel like in the near future, like a lot of what Rach said pertains to numbers specifically, which is amazing. I love numbers. But I think that if we're able to capitalize and identify what is helping that one man or woman shop grow, like the shop that has 10 employees, like what are those factors? What are those key components that is helping this agency just absolutely kill it? I feel like there's so much data when it comes to a network. And that was really the idea behind creating Agency KPI, is that it's just, there's just so much data when it comes to 240 independent agencies. There's a ridiculous amount of data out there, and it's not being capitalized on. So, and I'm looking forward to being able to just kind of use the data to form profiles for agencies and then really be able to identify like what they're doing that's helping, so that we can share that with the rest of the group, and everybody can share with each other, and everybody grows and everybody has more success.
I mean, a wild idea out of left field, and that's one of the things that I seem to come up with pretty easily, is there's an organization out there called Target Markets. And so you can have your own target markets inside of PiiB to better help agencies like to dominate a niche, as an example.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic.
It's a good idea. Thank you.
You're welcome. Always looking to help.
Yeah.
So I know that we're bumping up on time. So as we wrap it up today, by the way, thank you so much for sharing this information. And it's just the tip of the iceberg, folks. So again, if you have more questions, or you just want to have a quick conversation to see if it's a good idea or not a good idea to pursue a relationship with PiiB, I 100% recommend getting in touch with Tracy or Rachel or anybody on the PiiB team. But as we move to that, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to share how people can reach out to somebody on the team if they want to have that conversation. But before we do that, anything else to add?
I was only going to just do a wrap up kind of comment of that Rachel and I have talked to prospect agencies sometimes for years. before they join PiiB.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is in every single case, they're like, wow, I should have done this when I first started talking to you. So don't wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, we
Yeah.
could tell you how to contact us, but we're like eager to help. We've been doing it. We have been through a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different situations. So don't wait.
And we'll always be transparent on like what's going on and how we can help and where we can help and what are your pain points and can we resolve those for you. So we'll always be very transparent and eager to work and help with new agencies.
And I'll 100% support that. In the, let me think about this, probably 12, 13 years that experience that I have with you guys so far, 100% agree. Very transparent, always answering questions, never leaves any stone unturned. Grateful for you guys in that realm and every other way. So thank you for just being the awesome people that you are. So also to add one other thing on, based on what Tracy said, you're right. The present is a gift, so we should open it, right?
Yes.
Take action now. Or if you think about the word now and you move the end to the end of the world, to the end of the word, better said, now or own it, right?
Yep. Nice.
Fantastic. So
I love it. I love it.
So somebody sitting here listening and or watching the podcast, how can they reach somebody at PiiB?
Yeah.
Well, we do have an email address that's pretty simple. It's opportunity@piib.com.
I love that.
Send us an email there and it'll get to Rachel and I, and you'll talk to one of us immediately.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. We're not like, oh, that prospect was mine. Like if I know I can't get to someone within 24 hours, I'll send it to Tracy and be like, hey, can you please take this? Because I don't want to sit on anything. I want to help them now.
Right.
So,
opportunity@piib.com.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you want to add a phone number just in case?
Yeah. And we're always happy to talk, like whether we schedule the call or you just pick up the phone and call. Phone number is 916. I almost told you my cell phone. 916-941-0518. And Rachel's extension is 107 and mine is 102. So even if you just hit 0 and you say, hey, can I speak to Tracy or Rachel, you'll get straight to us. So
916-941-0518.
That's the one.
Awesome. Well, fantastic, ladies. I am super grateful and thankful that you have invested time today to share how you are helping independent insurance agents across states. And I know you guys are always looking to grow because the time that I'm privileged to invest with you, that's always the mindset. A profitable growth and mindset is what you've created, and a phenomenal organization that's unlike many, many others out there. So again, if you're watching or listening to this and you want to have a quick combo, reach out to these ladies. They're here to help you.
Yep. Absolutely. And thank you so much again for doing this, Mike. And we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see you at your convention, and I know you'll also be at our boot camp. So that's another place where you can meet Tracy and or Rachel or the team, and we super look forward to that as well.
Cool. Thanks again, Mike. You're the best.
Yeah. No, thank you. Reflection. So anyway. Really quickly, if this is your first time on the podcast, welcome. And my name is Mike Stromsoe. I'm widely recognized as a leading author, speaker, and coach for the independent insurance agency industry. You can find me at unstoppableprofitproducer.com. If you're interested in attending a virtual or live training event to grow your business, create wealth, so you too can have more freedom to live life on your own terms, please go to for our virtual events, uppfaststart.com, or you can join us at one of our live events at beunstoppablebootcamp.com. Again, both events are designed to share with some of the greatest money-making strategies that we've developed over 35 years of research in our industry, again, to help you grow, create wealth, and to have more freedom to live life on your own terms. And please go to our podcast website, unstoppableprofitpodcast.com, so you don't miss one episode. Subscribe at the top, and you can find either the podcast visually on our YouTube channel, or you can listen to the audio. And you can also find us out there on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and again, our YouTube channel. So Thank you, ladies, for being part of the podcast. We can't wait to get this out there in the ears or in the hearts or the hands of anybody out there who needs the amazing assistance in aggregators and clusters relationships, or to just take their business to the next level, which you helped me do. So grateful for you for that.
Cool. Well, it's our pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, get out there, make a difference, be unstoppable, leave no regrets, and we'll see you on the next podcast. Until then, be unstoppable.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.
Thank you for listening. If you would like to listen to more episodes or share this podcast with someone you care about, please visit www.unstoppableprofitpodcast.com. Now go out and make a difference. Be unstoppable and leave no regrets.